My name is Clare. I am a career coach. I'm down at the careers clinic down at the far end of the expo today. I'm actually a prime example of what Frank talks about. I started my career out, I trained as a marine engineer and I spent 10 years working on oil tankers at sea. And then I spent a further 5 years as an engineer in Dublin and decided that it wasn't for me any longer. I'd always been really interested in the training and development and mentoring mostly of staff in my career. So I went back and I retrained. So I, at that point, had changed industries within the engineering about 3 times and then went back and trained as a career coach, and I studied training and development as well. So that's pretty much how I got to be where I am. That's the information there. Clare O'Connor, Clare, is my website, .ie. And today I'm going to talk about how to make an impact and have your voice heard. So they're 2 different things, but I'm going to cover the same material with them today because they're quite linked. And like Frank said, if we get the basics right, we can use our technical skills and the experience that we've worked very hard to put together in our whole lives and make the most of it. So the first point is visibility. So if I want to have my voice heard and there's no one there to hear it, then I'm going to be wasting my time. And if I want to make an impact in my job or career or industry or company, if I'm not working with people and if I'm not visible and the hard work I'm doing isn't visible to the people that matter, then it's going to be really hard for me to make an impact. So why do I want to make an impact? I might, personal gain, more money, promotion, progression, change. Maybe I'm working to taking a step sideways or gaining experience to start something different. But the thing is that if I am not being seen by the people that matter, then I'm wasting time and energy. If a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it even make a noise? So if I'm working really, really hard in the background for years, but I'm not telling people about what I do, I'm not telling people about what progress I've made, how hard I'm working, we really need to blow our own trumpet. And there's lots of different ways of doing that because we're all different. On a scale of introversion to extroversion, it can be more difficult for some of us to do that, but there's different ways of doing it. And the people around us are what makes a huge difference there. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit. So when we say networking, it was something that used to always scare me because I imagined going into the size of the Careers Expo and I had to talk to people and I didn't know what I was going to say and I didn't know what I wanted from it. But actually networking, the smallest form of networking I do is at big events, but the rest of it's building a support network around us is what we're trying to do. And that includes everyone from your family to your friends to the colleagues you work with, but also to the people who work in the different jobs and roles and industries that you may want to move into or progress through. And it's very important to build that. It's a really slow process. So I might speak to someone now with a view to trying to work with them, to collaborate, to get a project running, and that might come to fruition in a year. I might speak to someone today with the view to going in and working in their company or looking at different job roles and building up that relationship with them so that, we get to a stage where there's a professional relationship or even a friendship in certain circumstances where we'll support each other. They'll tell me if there's jobs coming up, I'll be able to talk to them about what kind of roles are in their company, what type of tasks that each of those do. And the more of those small little relationships that I'm building, that's slowly building up a bigger community around me. So if we're doing that, we want to know why. So why am I trying to meet people in terms of my career? Why am I trying to get out there? Why am I making all this effort? So maybe I want to position myself as an expert, and I want to make an impact, and I want more and more and more people to realize that, and for me to be seen by more and more people as an expert in my industry or in my company. The scale of this is, can be very small to very large. I might want to build these relationships to meet like-minded people. Maybe there isn't a lot of, for example, I would have worked in an industry where I was a minority as a female, and I had to build my own career network of like-minded people and people who shared a similar experience outside of my company. I might want to generate new business ideas, so we could be doing some collaboration with different departments or different companies, if that's okay. Collaboration, raising awareness, depending on the role I'm in, maybe something I want to achieve. Exposure to different clients, trying to build business pipelines, finding a mentor. That's another really important one as well, is that, as we go through our career, the value of having a mentor or someone who's going to champion us in that career is second to none. And, they can help us to cross barriers that we wouldn't have been able to do on our own, to gain valuable experience, to gain from their own experience, and then for career progression or change. So then if we think about building this network and using the people to become visible, to make an impact or to have our voice heard on a grander scale, then we want to think a little bit about strategy. So, why am I doing this? For those reasons. How can I do this? Meet people. Who do I need to meet? Who do I need to get in front of? Who do I need to meet, in an orchestrated way, maybe? Can I use social media and online channels to do this? And then if we do also want to complement this with our formal networking, we can join different associations, depending on the industries we're working in, and go to different events. You don't know who you're going to meet, and you don't know what value or benefit in any way a conversation is going to have. So there's no such thing as a wasted conversation or a wasted cup of coffee. That's what I say. Confidence. Again, like I said, it's different for all of us. It depends on who we are, where we're comfortable, but we can build it. Confidence doesn't have to be absolute, in that we don't have to feel 100% like a confident person to get out there and start making those small steps. So I don't have to say I am an assertive person or I am a confident person before I can get out there and, reach out for a phone call or start to make changes towards what we were talking about there, to make the impact or to stand up and have my voice heard. I have to work hard, and especially if I'm not confident in certain areas, I can be really confident at home in a role, family or friends, in my position there. I can be really confident because I've had a lifetime of experience in it. Yet going into a new workplace where I don't know people, I don't know the processes, I feel like I'm at the bottom of the pile potentially, or that it's a bit daunting because it's a new experience that I want to perform, then it's easier to feel less confident there and to be afraid to speak up, to assert myself, to have my voice heard. But we can work hard, and it takes practice. And I guarantee you that it takes practice. I mean, there's things I do every day and every week and every month that I'm not confident in doing, or that I will question, but I just switch off the little judgment voice in my brain and say, I know I can do it because I've done X, Y, and Z before. I'm speaking to people this morning about strengths, competencies, skills, transferable, as Frank was saying this morning. Write them down. Write yourself a little bio about, your statement of who you are, what you do, why you are the best at what you do. It's it'll change the way you look at yourself, and you can build on that. Write down your strengths, where you're good. Whether, like, think logically about what value you're bringing in the job, whether you believe it or not. You could be good at organization, planning, supervising, leading teams, meetings, whatever it is. They're all the skills that you want to build, and build a list of them and add to it when you think of it. Just start the list, because that's the hardest part, and then add to that. And then you create this personal statement of who you are. And that'll help you a lot then when you're going to, build on that, to go to have an impact and to create change, because it'll help you to realize how you can work better with people, but also how to let people know how they can work better with you. So then we plan. Why do we plan? Because it's important. A plan is like a roadmap. We can do it. It doesn't mean that we're going to stick exactly to that route. It doesn't mean we won't stop or veer off along the way. But if we don't do it, we may never leave the house. We may never get in the car to go on that journey. So if we do a plan, at least we'll get outside the door and start. What impact do you want to make? Like we said earlier, is it a certain project? Is it a certain change that you want to make? What is your impact? So start with that. How are you going to do it? Who is going to help you do it? And lay out your plan that way. It can literally be a sketch on a piece of paper. And then practice again. Work hard at it, practice, and visualize the success. If we don't visualize it, we don't really know where we're going. And sometimes that's okay if we don't know, because we'll find our way. But pick something solid at the end that you can focus on. So I'm not sure if this is a bit small to read, but basically what you're doing then is you're creating this personal statement, a personal brand. So branding isn't just for business. What's the purpose of your career? Where do you see yourself in the future? What's the end goal of this? What's important to you? Who do you admire and why do you like them? Give you some insight. What kind of personality do you have? Like, are you fun? Are you helpful? Are you serious? Those things will all come into it. Tone of voice, are you supportive? Are you directive? It depends on your role. It depends on you. What's your story? How did you get here? Why are you here? Why do you want to go where you want to go? We listen to people. We feel the empathy. We're selling to each other. We're buying from each other. We're supporting each other. So there's no harm at all in adding in some personal story. And people like to hear a story and to find out that there's something to it, and that, to gain that support from them in achieving it. How do you look? Formal, casual, and tools then that you can use to help you with this. So your professional photos, your dress, your email signatures, touch points, business cards, different things to create that kind of a professional approach. So that's a short synopsis on how to make that impact and have your voice heard. And it's really about getting to the place where you can be seen in a way that's most comfortable to you. Thank you.